Oh, welcome to the show.
Hey.
This is the new show.
This is our temporary setup. We'll have our...
Temporary. We're going to have the news desk shortly.
Shortly, but right now we have this.
So, big 2-year bond auction. Big deal. Really big deal. So, basically, it was the best bond auction since like 2009, I think. And no, it was the second best since 2009.
What makes a bond auction a best one?
If they sell a lot of bonds.
Yeah. Okay.
So, sold a lot of bonds at below 4 or 4.2, something like that. So, what that really means is the bond market has said, hey, we're buying all the bonds we can now because rates are probably going down. So, these were 2-year bonds.
You lock in at 4 when the rates start dropping.
The bonds are worth more.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So, which is the exact opposite is why these banks are insolvent. They bought bonds and mortgages and all that at 2 or 3%, and now they're 6, 7, 8%. So those things are worth about half as much, or about 40%. So it's kind of a mess for those guys. That's why these banks are having problems. But big auction today. What that means is the bond market has said, hey, we don't expect any more rate increases. So if that is true, we will see our first reduction in rates by the end of the summer. That would be my guess. On average, it's 30 to 90 days when we start to see rate drops from the last rate hike. So that's where we're at. Rates are going to come down. I don't know if spreads are going to get better, but rates are coming down.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. So if the bond sale was the best ever, then that means that investor dollars are going into bonds.
Correct.
At sub 4%.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, investor, but they need the bonds, right? That offsets. It's a risk management tool.
For sure. Yeah,
you gotta have those bonds there for the bond traders to offset risk and actually it's a guaranteed. It's like a fixed annuity, right?
3.85 or whatever it is. That's going to be probably pretty dang solid for the next 36 months, right?
Yeah, 2-year 4%. I mean, so I need to go back and look at our credit unions to see if they're still paying, 5, 6. What was mine at? 4 3/4, 4.8. And they gave me a little bump there because I've been a member for 25 years, and I was just above 5%. So I'm kind of curious if those CDs are even available anymore. I know this is there's people that are listening to the show. They're like, I want to hear about real estate and all that. Why are you talking about boring old bonds, CDs? And I'm like, because your reserves have to go somewhere. You got to have cash. So what do you do with that cash? Park it in some really solid vehicle, money market, CD, that sort of thing, and just leave it there.
Or
what?
A private note secured by real estate.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not a reserve. That's not. I'm talking about for your reserves. Yeah. I have said this, and there is somebody that is learning this lesson right now. There is really no such thing as passive real estate investing.
No.
So it's like the closest you can get is a private note. That's really the closest you can get. You can get close with, sort of syndications, although we know 90% of syndications out there right now are not doing well.
Yeah.
They are not doing good.
Not a good decade for syndication.
Yeah. This is the syndication crash of 23.
Yeah.
So a lot of people ask me, like, Jason, it's because rates went up. I'm like, no, it's inflation.
It's a lot of things, yeah.
Taxes went up.
Sure.
Taxes went way up because values went up. And insurance has gone through the roof. Like, absolutely insane. In fact, one of the guys in our office was like, he got an accident. He got sideswiped. He goes, I think they're going to total it. I'm like, yeah, because parts are a pain to get and labor.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Just rental car costs. I've gotten absolutely out of control.
Right?
Well, I was on Turo and I'm like,
right.
A regular rental car is what? $100, $200 a day?
Sure.
What did you get yours for?
Pretty cheap.
Okay.
I don't buy any fancy.
Okay. We were looking at Lambos. Rob did not want matching Lambos in Phoenix for our Mastermind, so I got a minivan.
I got a small little SUV.
So we're going to take all these folks around, our Mastermind folks, in the minivan. Or those who go out with us that night.
You're bringing up a lot. So this is our new format, so that we should be able to put some things in here. So one of the things that we're doing is we have a Mastermind preview event. And so we have a Mastermind out in Arizona, and our first night we're all going out to the casino.
Yes.
So we got to pile in the SUVs, we got to pile in the minivans and head over there, and someone's got to, stay sober, or it's only like 2.5 miles, and it's pretty much a straight line.
There you go.
Right?
Drive it fast.
Just a straight line. Just get out. But anyway, so this stuff we're doing out in Arizona with our group, and we've invited some folks in from LA from a different group so they can kind of get a preview of what's going on. So we're kind of excited about that. But anyway, back to where to put your dollars.
Mm-hmm.
We've created and seen a pretty big push for folks that just want to tie up their money.
Yeah.
For 24 or 36 months and sort of ride it out, right? Just like, hey, I don't think anyone is certain what's going to go on when Hershey is having its best year and Home Depot is having its worst year, and we can't tell why, right? So,
I can tell you the Home Depot issue is the same one that's Restoration Hardware, and that is home real estate sales. Home sales are 20% of GDP. We are going to have a recession just simply because of this. And what drives Home Depot? What drives Restoration Hardware? What drives these appliance manufacturers and all that? You go buy a new home, and you need stuff for the new home. The stuff at the old house was just fine, but consumers like, we need a new washer and dryer. Now we got this new house, and we need furniture, and we need paint, and whatever the stuff is you buy at Home Depot. So that's one of the reasons that you're seeing kind of some problems there in those businesses.
So conversely, why would Hershey have its best year?
I have no idea.
Right.
I got no idea. What?
So
people eating a lot of chocolate, I guess?
I don't know. So there's some instability out there in the marketplace, and those that know us know that, hey, we've never defaulted on a note, and we have a ton of performing products. So anyway, if you're interested, you're going to text 281-401-9008. 281-401-9008. Just text the word passive, and we'll get some information on that. So that's going on. Boy, we're still seeing deals out there.
Deals everywhere. Deals are everywhere. I'm looking up Hershey.
So we started flipping again. That's kind of interesting. We got 4 going on right now. One is an add-on. One is, really just sort of outdated, bring it up to the market. And the other one's a gut rehab, and then the other one's a gut rehab. So we got 2 gut rehabs, got an add-on, and then we got sort of lipstick on a pig one. Mm-hmm. And we're finding these things fairly easily. We, for years, said we don't want to do flips, we want to hold the equity, but there's so much money out there, such a demand on a premium product, right? Mm-hmm. So if the house is ready to go and it looks pretty and there's a farmhouse sink and there's a marble top island and all, those will sell in days.
Yeah, if you've got a good house, don't believe for one second that this market, what was the stat I heard the other day? 1/3 of new listings are sold, their flash sales are sold in 24 hours or less. So there are a lot of markets, and Texas has those markets as well, where if you want a house and it's a good house in a good neighborhood, it's gone. Our business partners in another venture were telling me, they had one go and they put it on the market in Spring Branch. It was gone in a day.
And $12,000 over asking.
Yeah, $12,000 over asking. So we're still in the multiple offer situation in certain markets, and they're moving fast. They are moving real fast.
Yeah, and then conversely, the ones that need a little tune-up and need a little help, they're not selling.
No, they sit.
Yeah, they're sitting. So we're able to find some of those products and get them out there, and now that we have our construction under control, we're able to roll in there and start doing some flips. So that's going to be in the mastermind if you guys are hanging around us, thinking about the mastermind. What else we got going on? We got to build this whole studio up.
This is the temporary. This is the second temporary studio because the first one was temporary too. So, Portfolio Builders Club is
that's a good one.
Wednesday night. So if you want access to our deals for $5,000 a year, that's the club to join. In fact,
we're not making a special offer on the night.
No, we're going to do the special. The special offer is
it'll be gone by the time they see this.
Well, that's fine. Okay, so we're only working with 25 folks. So
that's it.
That's it. When 25 people sign up, that's it for this year. So if you're interested in doing that, thetxpbc.com, thetxpbc.com. Like I said, this is not an email list with 10,000 people on it. We work with 25 folks plus the other 100 that are in our mastermind, and that's it. So if you want flips, you want rental properties, you want Airbnbs, we've got them all in there.
Yeah.
And I already know. I know. I'm waiting for this question tomorrow night. This is going to be the question. Well, Jason, if you don't sell it to your mastermind and you don't sell it here, then why don't you have another list and kind of send me a deal? I'm like, that's not how that works, dude.
No.
We're just going to buy it.
Yeah.
That's how that works. So
we're still buying, guys, right?
Yeah, we're always buying. So I would much rather work with a small group of folks than 1,000 investors.
Yeah, for sure.
Or 10,000 investors trying to, not necessarily wholesale property, but sell a property. Like it's too much work.
Oh, I love that guy who's got that database. And he's like, we have to interview you to see if we'll give you access to our buyers database.
Yeah, like, whatever.
Yeah. The interview is, what's the zip code on that credit card number?
That's right. Yeah. It's not even that. It's so funny because I remember back in the day, I'd meet with those guys. I'm like, okay. And I get on their list and I realize I'm like, oh, there's like 50,000 people on this list. You go to look at the house, there's 30 people there, all looking at the same deal. It's a real mess. We don't do that. So I said we work with a small group of folks, be 25 folks in the Portfolio Builders Club, and we've got it all there. I mean, we've got the money folks are there, the construction, all that stuff. So if you are looking to build out your portfolio, maybe Airbnbs, or I should say short-term rentals, long-term rental properties, flip properties, you're looking for a house for yourself, we've done a bunch of house hacks too, which has been kind of fun. So if you're looking for any of that stuff,
coming up.
thetxpbc.com, thetxpbc.com.
THETXPBC.com. Yep.
It'll pull up right there.
Or you can text 281-401-9008. Just text PBC, Portfolio Builders Club.
And I know you guys are going to want all these details. Let me give you the details. $5,000 a year, you get access to our deals. It's that simple.
There it is.
In fact, we got 5 right now, and it'd be a surprise if we did. We got 7?
Yeah, the 2 that we'll put back up.
Oh, okay. So the 5 that we just put in have 20 to 30. No, the smallest one is $30,000 in equity, and they're all rented. Like they're turnkey. You walk in, write a check, done. Like doesn't get much better than that. And you'll probably be $50,000, $60,000 out of pocket, less the equity. You're making 50% return just on the equity year one. And these are markets that when rates drop, that they are going to jump 50% in value. I was reading some real interesting stuff today where folks talk about the crash, the real estate market's going to end, all that nonsense. And this one guy just in the comments section says, wait till rates go back down to the 3s and you see 50% appreciation a year. Because I'll tell you, I do this Monday morning Zoom call with everybody about where the market's at. And every single analyst is saying the same thing right now. That is, wait till rates drop. And the problem is we don't have enough inventory. This year, because active listings are slowing it down about 10, 15% a month, there is a belief out there in certain markets that we will end the year with the lowest inventory in history, which is crazy.
I think the other problem is the Brandon economy, right? It's like every month we think like, hey, this is going to turn something else. So now we're dealing with the debt ceiling, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure we get all our social programs covered and all that other nonsense and just constantly hurt the people that vote. Right? That's absolutely nonsensical at this point. Just instability, just uncertainty, right?
And here's what's the stupid thing about the debt ceiling. So the drop dead date, X date, I think is January 1st or June 1st or June something, right? So that's the day the federal government runs out of money. Yep. That's technically what that means. But the executive branch has a whole bunch of other tools at its disposal to avoid or extend that date. So everyone's getting worked up about the debt ceiling. I'm like, I don't think it's that big a deal. In fact, I'm like, run it up to 200% GDP. Like, I really don't care. But, everyone's worried about, oh no, we're going to lose the reserve currency, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So it's just a little game.
The more we debate it and argue about it and create uncertainty in the market, the better the chance that we lose the reserve currency. There needs to be action on it, right? Stop. We need to get 8 adults in a room and take care of this.
I don't know. I like I said, here's what I know. Nobody gets reelected unless there's money in the system. So they're all going to come together. The Republicans are going to claim we lowered this marginal tax, whatever, so they can claim a victory. And then the Democrats are going to say, well, we got this other $1 trillion funded. I mean, it's all nonsense. But the markets get all worked up about it for whatever reason. But I don't see. Now, I will tell you this. For those of you who've got Section 8, when we had an unapproved federal budget for the couple of times, they will stop paying because there's no money to pay you. But they'll catch you up. I will tell you that. So once they get all that stuff passed, if it's a month or two where they're playing these games, you'll get your checks. I think they did it. Was it a month? You guys,
It was.
Drop it in the comments. But it wasn't the debt ceiling, it was the federal budget. So since the federal budget wasn't approved, there was no allocation of resources. So nobody had any money to pay anybody. I want to say that went on for a month or so.Maybe it was just a month, and they caught everybody up on Section 8. So if you have housing Section 8 tenants, the government may not, pay it June 1st. I don't know, but we'll see how that whole thing progresses. I think it's just a game they're going to play for another 2 weeks, at least another week, maybe the first week of June. Claim they won something. You're like, yeah, you got it, buddy. Good job. In fact, Logan predicted last week, he said, because there's not a lot of financial news coming out this week, like this is going to be like wall-to-wall coverage on debt ceiling.
It is.
Because earnings were over.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Earnings were over. We had that great bond auction. I think we get PCE tomorrow, and we get, what do we get Friday? Maybe PCE's Friday. So we'll get some inflation numbers Friday, and we get something else Wednesday, maybe the jobs report. I can't remember. It might be the JOLTS report. But anyways, we're getting a couple of things this week.
We got a holiday weekend, so it'll be a short week next week.
Yep.
I think Wednesday we get the jobs report.
That may be it. Maybe it's next week. But it's kind of a dead week or two here. And then we'll kick it back up. And then, FOMC minutes are this week. That's what we're supposed to get. So we're supposed to get the Fed minutes this week, which will be interesting. They'll dissect those. But my guess is they're one and done, pretty much over. We'll be seeing rates come down.
Time of recording the show, we're at 7%, right?
Which is crazy. We dropped all the way down to the low 6s like earlier this month. So we're seeing 1% swing. I mean, that's a lot, 15, 20% month over month.
Imagine you were at like 6 1/8 and you're like, I'm just going to wait another week.
Oh, yeah.
The
bang, 701, like a punch right in the face. We were talking about rate locks. We had that Red Talk, Real Estate Discussions talk with Wade Cuomo and Jennifer Hernandez. And it was really interesting. We were talking about rate locks. And everyone was like kind of laughing. They were like, yeah, you can kind of measure that in minutes. Like you need to lock it in. And I don't know if it's going to be available. It could be lower, it could be higher. Right. Who knows, right? So I think the bigger thing for investors is prepayment penalties. Like get the lowest prepayment penalty you can. I wouldn't buy down rates. I had to sit down and actually do the math for everybody. I don't see any wisdom in buying rates down. But I do see a little bit of wisdom if, one lender has a little bit higher interest rate and your prepays 3 years instead of 5, like that may make some sense. You got to sit down and put some numbers to it, but prepays are going to kill you guys in the next 2 years because we know these rates are coming down.
Well, it's a DSCR.
Yeah.
Because with the insurance and the taxes going up, you've been squeezed already. And then most of the lenders that we deal with, the non-QM or these capital groups, they've gone from a 1.1 DSCR to a 1.25 DSCR.
Right.
And you are already at 1. If you had a 1.1 last year, you're at 1.8, 118 with the insurance and everything going up.
Right.
You got squeezed, and now it's even tighter. So, we've been talking loans for the last 2 weeks here intensively. And someone says, I got a guy, man, he'll do 6.5%, not a problem, 1.2 DSCR. We're like, great. Can we talk to him? Sure. Hey, how does this work? All whole long conversation. We're on a 20-year AM. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
What does that do for me? That's
20-year AM. And at a 1.1 DSCR, you might as well be at 1.5.
Right. So
it's so ridiculous.
You're back down to 52% loan to value. It's just like, well, that's what we have. I'm like,
I got you.
I got it.
That's why I send the email. Just send the term sheet.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk to you. Well, no, we got to meet. Send the term sheet. Because honestly, everyone's rates are about the same. It's all the other stuff in there. Fees, DSCR, LTV, LTC, all that stuff. So it's like, just send me the term sheet, man. We don't have to have this long, no, we need to talk and meet. And I'm like, no, just because you don't have anything else to do doesn't mean I don't, right? And I know you got
no one else.
I mean, they got nobody else that they're lending to, right? So it's like, just send me the term sheet. We'll get it. I'll tell you in 5 minutes if we're going to have a meeting or not.
We're having conversations now with private lenders.
Yeah.
24 months, 8, 9%, 36 months, extension, all that good stuff. And for them, it's twice of what a CD will pay, right? Or they're buying a bond. And again, it's secured by real estate.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way to just wrap this up and move forward. It's a win-win for both of us, right? It's dealing with the private lenders who think they're hard money lenders, right?
Oh yeah, they're like, I need 3 and 14. I'm like, well, you can go talk to somebody else. By the way, inventory is down 50% since 2019. So there aren't a whole lot of deals out there, and there's not a whole lot of investors. I was joking with there's me and another guy, Chris Funk, kind of go back and forth, and he's like, I'm turning you into a crash, bro. The market's crashing. I said, it's crashing, but not the way you think it is.
Sure.
It is an inventory issue. We are seeing a crash in supply, not in demand. So a lot of real estate investors are just getting blown out because there's just not enough deals for them to do. Like, there's just nothing out there. Nobody wants to move, right? Even, Mima's house, it's like, well, I don't know, let's hold on to it. If somebody's refinanced something in the last couple of years, a lot of them are holding those as rental properties. They're just, I kind of disagree with Logan here about rate locks. But if you're locked in that 3% mortgage, I have a lot of conversations with people. They're like, let's just make do in this 1,500 square foot house because I don't want to pay 7% in the 3,000 square foot house. So they're just kind of waiting. There's a lot of folks like that, and it's impacting inventory. 80 to 90% of home sellers are also home buyers and vice versa. So the likelihood that there's going to be this rush of inventory because most people are going to move into a house and no one's going out to rent. I can tell you that because rent rate increases. So rent increases in rental rates are decelerating fast. In fact, some markets like Austin are down 15% year over year.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to rent and nobody wants to move. So you're just kind of like locked up. It's this weird little space where the economy.
So we're seeing some of these national mortgage companies, and they're buying down the rate for you for the next 2 years.
Yes.
You seen that, or 3-2-1 buy down?
Yeah, Legacy Mutual Mortgage over at Jennifer's shop. Yep. They've got a coupon for refinances and something else. Like she had that, a lot of times the seller will contribute to the buy down.
Yeah.
And so they'll buy down the rate for the buyer, and then they'll get a refi certificate, like coupon, if you will. So if you refinance with them in the next couple of years, they waive like underwriting fees and some other stuff. So because everyone knows where this is going, rates are coming down. They're not going up. They're done. So rates are only going down from here.
But even still, with that product out on the street, there's simply not enough inventory to buy.
No, there's just not enough out there.
And that product, quite frankly, is only going to be interested in the motivated buyer.
Right.
The guy or the couple or the family that is, just got the phone call from, hey, guy, guess what? We're shipping you out of the Midlands and sending you down to the Woodlands.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And then you're like, oh, no, I got to go buy a house in Houston, and there's nothing down there.
There's nothing down here.
Yep.
I was reading about some county I don't know if it was New Jersey. I can't remember where. Somewhere up north. And they were chatting with a real estate agent there. He's a broker, does a lot of deals. He's like, there are 23 properties for sale in this one area. City, county, whatever it is. That's it. 23. That's all there is. There's no more than that. So you ain't getting a house. This is all you got to pick from. You got to buy a house. You want your kids to go to this school. You got 23 to pick from. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. And so these agents and brokers are just pulling their hair out because it's like, where are all the deals? Where's all the volume? And I am reading articles. This one was in the Wall Street Journal, where they basically said, we are foregoing promotions at work if they require a relocation because it's going to be so expensive for me to buy that house. I mean, that's kind of crazy when you think about it. And that's having real economic impacts. I mean, if you've got somebody who is technically that's underemployed, like they should be making, $200,000 a year and they're staying at this job for $150,000. It's like this couple needs to move, and they do the quick math and they're like, yeah, but I don't want to be locked into a 30-year mortgage at 7 or 8% if rates don't ever come back down.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of people that are making that calculus, and they assume their job, that future job will be there, but they're committed to this 30-year mortgage at 7%. They're like, I got a 2.5 and I bought 2 years ago and refinance, or I bought 5 or 6 years ago or 10 years ago and refi. Now look at the price of houses now, and I'm just not interested.
So to all this, the layman real estate investor will tell you then, therefore, I'm going to sit on the sidelines. And we're just the opposite. We're like, well, no, because there's opportunities. There's opportunities in every real estate market. You just have to figure out which ones they are. For us, we're flipping because the dated homes that can't be sold because no one wants to move out, and they have to move out, right? We're just picking these things up, and we're going to flip them. We're going to do probably 2 a month, right, over the next 12 months, and we plan to make a couple $1,000,000 doing that, right? On the other side of it, hey, there's going to be some people that need to get out of their rental units that can't get it. We looked at some owner finance deal and some commercial properties. Understanding where you are in the marketplace is why we talk about it all the time. And then once you do understand it, how do you take action? So for us, we're flipping, and because people seem to have a hard time selling multifamily these days, we are buying 2, 3s, and 4 units.
Well, I was chatting with our favorite commercial broker yesterday on text, and I said, hey, man, are there any deals out there? He's like, look, it's going to be a little bumpy here for 24, 36 months.
Yeah.
And the CMBS market is kind of turning some things upside down. But he's like, there's no deals out there. Like, owners aren't selling.
Yeah, they're just locked in.
They're just locked in, and they're going to ride it out. They're going to figure out some other way to keep these buildings. And he's like, even with I think I saw a stat the other day that, Houston and major metros are somewhere between 60 and maybe 55 to 60% occupancy post-COVID. And you're like, okay, well, where are all the deals at? I mean, these things ought to be just falling out of the sky because their occupancy rate's 30, 40, 50%. And they're not.
Because unemployment's so low. We're working. This is the classic scenario of Jim Rohn, right? It says, salesman gets up, looks out the door, says it's raining.
Oh.
Says, I'm not going to go out. It's raining out, right? Yeah. The other salesman gets up, looks out the door, says, raining, says, I can't wait to get out there.
Because these guys
everyone's going to be home, especially the salespeople, right?
I will tell you my favorite time of year when I was racing bikes was winter in Germany because it's wet and it's cold, like in the 20s. It's miserable. But it's a great time to train because guess what? Nobody else is there. Nobody else is out there. It's great. And you just know when you come out of the wintertime, you hit the spring, like you are feeling pretty good because you are in all those miserable times.
And I'll go a little further. It is, if you watch the news, if you read your feeds, there's not a lot of good things being said about the economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that will make you have a predisposition to not want to invest.
Right.
But that is the exact time to invest, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when, very classic Warren Buffett, right? When do you invest? When everyone else is not investing.
Right.
When do you sell? When everyone else isn't selling, right? Just counterintuitive to the marketplace.
Well, and it's real interesting. I keep telling everybody, I'm like, this is what's going to happen. Rates are going to drop.
Yep.
We're not going to be in this inventory crunch forever. We're going to have low inventory. I don't think we're going to see anything near. I think 2010 is when the entire real estate industry market changed, and that is when people were staying in their homes longer. That is absolutely statistically true. We're seeing folks stay in their homes 11 to 15 years, in part because their homes are already so big, so they don't have to trade up, trade down, do all that stuff. But I also think that when rates drop, and they will, we are going to have this huge buying frenzy. All of a sudden, there's some inventory that's going to hit the market. But here's the other thing. And people say that like, there's going to be all this inventory. And I'm like, well, if you got a pretty decent little house, you're at a 3% mortgage, why wouldn't you just rent it? And a lot of homeowners are having that thought like, I want to keep this 3% mortgage. Why don't I just rent this thing and buy the next house?
Wave.
Yep. So it's going to create a whole nother wave of buyers out there. Even if only 10% of buyers do that, that's still a huge impact.
Yeah, massive.
So prices are just going to just skyrocket. So this reminds me exactly like COVID. Everybody was scared, sitting at home watching Tiger King, and I'm like, guys, I'm looking at the data and I'm seeing a huge increase in appreciation, and that is exactly what happened. So this is the exact same thing. It's just artificially caused by rates. When rates drop back down, demand's going to shoot through the roof, and inventory is at an all-time low. Mm-hmm. That's a recipe for houses shooting up in value. And I'll tell you, most of you guys only need 10, 20, 30 of these things free and clear because you're making 10, 20, 30 grand a month. Yeah. 10 grand a month, easy on 10 free and clear. Like, all you need is 20 houses. Market shoots up. You sell 10, pay the other 10 off. You're making 10 to 15 G's a month. I mean, that's going to happen in the next couple of years here. Just riding the appreciation.
So when we were in when I was in the garbage world,
mm-hmm.
the material resource management world, one of the indicators we knew about an economy was, hey, if the prices of cardboard recycling go up, that means that the manufacturing world has told, hey, we need more boxes, so it becomes more valuable, right? Same thing here in real estate for us. I've got 2 contractors. One's a plumber, right? And the other guy's a framer. And when they call me, I know that there's no housing starts going on.
Yeah.
Right. This one guy he is $650 a drop, right? If you understand how plumbing works. He's $650 a drop. He does large tracks. Him and his boys go out there, get it all done. And if he's calling me, that means he's got no housing to work on. So that tells me, hey, there are crews available and I can get some decent rates. So let me head into that market. And of course we make Travis call him, but that guy. And there's the fishing guy who likes to go out there and, when he's calling us, that means, hey, there's not enough work. He's ready to jump in. So again, for us, we're seeing, hey, on the construction side, there's enough 2x4s, there's enough paint, there's enough materials. We can get these things going, and the labor has come back. So we're moving now. I will tell you that the migrants framers have left Texas. There's a group of people. There's a group of contractors that just move across the country following new housing starts.
Oh, interesting.
And they're not here anymore. So we're clearly slowed down. They either went back to Arizona, New Mexico, California, wherever they lived. So that's our little telltale sign. It's like, hey, when all those guys disappear, there's a lot of money in the economy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
When they're calling me, it's like, oh, this is a good time for me.
Yeah, it's going to be great. TheTXPBC.com if you want deals. Yeah. that's the reality of it. I mean, it's going to be really hard to find deals. It's going to be really hard. We find them every day, but it's going to be really tough. Like we're negotiating one right now, and I'm like, this is the number. And they're like, well, we got other offers. And I'm like, this is the number. Like you can sell it to us, or you can try to sell it to some wholesaler who's probably not going to close. Like no one's going to put money in your pocket in 2 weeks except for B. So
right.
Are we going to do this or not? And if we're not, that's fine. But I mean, here's the deal. Here's the offer. It's what works. I'd love to come up 10 or 15 grand, but I can't. Like this is the top number here. And a year ago, they would be inundated with offers. So it's interesting.
We would never be in that market.
Oh, we'd never be in that market.
In that market last year.
No. Yeah, we wouldn't have been in that market last year. And you had a conversation with a bunch of hard money lenders around town, and you said, hey, guys, what's going on? They said, well, the only guys that are really flipping are the ones that have been doing it for at least a decade.
Yeah.
All the amateurs are out of the marketplace. So it makes sense when we're making offers and we're like one of 2 or 3, and they're, last year they would have gotten 20. I'm like, that's what that means. It's only so when I go back to the conversation Chris and I had, I said, it's just going to be like 5 or 6 of us in this marketplace that are doing it because it's going to be too hard. There's going to be too little inventory. And a lot of these investors will have missed out. They will have missed out on the huge single-family housing boom, the second phase of COVID. And it's unfortunate. I mean, this isn't going to go on forever.
Right.
I mean, at some point, the population dividend decreases. So part of it is just population. That's what population's growing. Millennials are having kids. The Zennial, what is it, Gen Z or whatever it is behind them. It's not that big. So this is the time to be doing this where you can make a lot of money. And then, of course, somebody will say, well, Jason, that means prices are going to go down. I'm like, no, they're not going to go down. They're not going to go up as much, but they're not going down.
So let me sum it up.
Okay.
If you're a passive investor, it's time to park it into notes that are secured by real estate.
Yep.
Right? If you're an active investor, you got to get your ass out there and start buying some properties, whether you're going to buy them to hold or buy them to flip. It's time to get moving. Right now is the time. There is a lot of pieces on the table that you can start grabbing. We'd love to have you as part of our team. Just text 281-401-9008. Text PBC. Text the word passive if you want to do passive investing. Airbnb, whatever you're looking for, we'll have a conversation on text. 281-401-9008. Again, if you're passive, I would go ahead and grab some notes that are going to be double the CD rate and are going to be secured by real estate. And then over here, if you're active, I would be working right now, starting to pick up deals, join the PBC, join the Mastermind, and build out your portfolio or start doing your flips.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, hey, this is our temporary space. We're going to do some good things here on this YouTube channel, so make sure you like and subscribe below. We appreciate it. And we'll be doing a couple of these a week. Thanks.